Hello everyone and welcome to a new challenge. This one is called Quit Volleyball Challenge. I'm super excited for it. We are going to go with all the poly ships. This is the last video of the BokuAkaKuroKen marathon, which at the very beginning I announced that the last video of this marathon would be the start of a new challenge. I may have forgotten, but to my defense, it seems that nobody has noticed, and still I made it. So here we are. Let's go. I hope you're excited. On his way home from practice, one misfortune after the next seemed to haunt Bokuto as he first stumbled into a not-so-kind stranger in his hurry to catch the train, who caused him to ultimately miss it in favor of complaining about his inattentiveness. Then, after waiting for almost half an hour due to a delay, the train that would finally bring him home was packed to the brim, and he didn't manage to catch a seat, which he would really hope for after a particularly exhausting session today. Ultimately, it probably boiled down to that. Today's practice was frustrating. He hadn't found his rhythm, missed a couple of spikes, and was blocked more than once. The worst was that compared to him, Sakusa did flawlessly. It gnawed at him. His already tense nerves threatened to snap with every other inconvenience adding to the pile of an already awful day. He remembered being so agitated shortly after that he was ready to tear into the next person that dared testing his patience, when it was Hinata that suddenly stood in front of him. He had caught him after practice, careful not to let Sakusa hear, to tell him about a challenge he came up with to trick their boyfriends. He wanted Sumu to do it as well, so he was adamant the other spikers stay uninformed. You see, this reporter asked me what I would be without volleyball, and I was really confused by that. Then he laughed and said it was truly unimaginable, so I thought how our boyfriends would react if we suddenly wanted to quit. I think it could be super interesting. The ginger had, even after giving his all in training, still an unholy amount of energy, and his enthusiasm was contagious. The literal epitome of sunshine that he was, he managed to brighten his mood, if only shortly, and Bokuto agreed. It did sound interesting. When he stepped out of the overcrowded train at his station and was met with rain as well as the realization that he had forgotten his umbrella, he decided that he could as well use his frustration for the challenge. As if he could convincingly say he wanted to quit volleyball otherwise. At home, he had barely pushed the door open when the sounds of steps already echoed through the hallway. Kemma visibly tried not to laugh as he handed him a towel. You look like a drenched owl. Jeez, thanks. He accepted it while putting down his bag and started drying his hair. He felt awful. The weight of his clothes had doubled, and by now he was freezing even though it was still late summer. Kemma frowned at his tone and with a more careful expression leaned against the wall. I'm guessing your day wasn't great then? His tone was cautious and he narrowed his eyes slightly at the ace. Does it look like it? Bokuto wanted to slap himself as soon as the words left his mouth. He bit his tongue and halted. This wasn't Kenma's fault after all. The opposite, in fact. His partner had tried everything to improve his situation since he arrived. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snap at you. He sighed as he loosened his shoes and stepped out of them, only to find his socks to be drenched as well. We all have bad days sometimes. I accept your apology. A small smile tucked his lips upward. Now come inside and put on some dry clothes before you catch a cold. Because if you do, I'll catch a cold from cuddling with you, and I hate being sick. You could just not cuddle with me? Kenma scoffed as he turned around to walk inside. As if. It coaxed a smile out of the toddler as he followed him, though instead of going to the living room, he took the steps upstairs to their bedroom to fetch himself a dry set of clothes. He decided on a fluffy hoodie that wasn't currently borrowed by Kenma and a pair of sweatpants. He still felt a little cold, so he chose something warm and comfy. For a moment, he simply let himself fall onto the bed and let himself feel all the frustration and anger over today. He felt it like a tightening in his chest as he recalled the events in practice. The disapproving glances of Coach Foster and Atsumu growing frustrated with him because he didn't turn his sets into points. He let himself feel the anger and envy over Sakusa's success, and only after acknowledging it, reminded himself that it was one bad day, that Sakusa had them too, and that the only reason because he thought of him so much better today was because he saw himself as that much worse. It was an unfair comparison at the moment. With that, he let it go. This day wouldn't determine his career going forward. While his frustration was valid, it was also unproductive if it turned into envy or "I'm not as good as." He was tired now, exhausted and depleted from a demanding day. Today was not the time to catch new fighting spirits and hunt after the next success. Now he had to rest. With that, he sat up. He felt better. The tension seeped from his shoulders as the seconds passed by, and the prospect of cuddling with his boyfriends to recharge did the trick to get him back on track. So much so that he almost forgot about the challenge. As he walked out of the room with new energy, his curiosity grew as well. He prided himself on knowing his partners well, but thinking about their possible reactions left him at a blank. Just as he walked into the living room, his phone vibrated with an incoming message, and he checked his display automatically. Hinata has added you to the Bye-Bye Volleyball GC. Hinata added Atsumu, the Grey King, Komori, Hayato, and Terushima. Hi everyone! I told Sumu and Bo already about the challenge, but for the rest, pretend you want to quit volleyball. Send your results here. He put the phone away again and let himself fall down on the couch beside Kenma. His phone announced a couple more messages, probably from Hinata's newest victims, but he ignored it. Something interesting? The smaller didn't even look up from his game, but without comment leaned against Bokuto, or rather let himself fall over to the side. Not really, just a new group chat from Shoyo. Kenma hummed non-committedly, and Bokuto almost doubted he had heard him at all. The ace started absentmindedly rubbing over his arms and playing with the long strands of hair as he let his thoughts wander. Say, Kenma? When are Tetsu and Kyuchi supposed to come home? He turned to look at the clock hanging in the open kitchen, only tearing his gaze away from the screen at the very last possible second. In about 20 minutes. Koro texted the group chat 10 minutes ago that he would leave in 5 and pick up Kiji because of the weather. Why? I wanted to speak with you all. He faltered and briefly stiffened in his arms. Hadn't he just finished the level, he might have lost it as his focus deviated. This way, he was able to turn around completely as the end screen played. The vigilant golden eyes inspected him carefully, and Bokuto could see both skepticism and worry reflected in them. Is something wrong? I'd rather talk about it with everyone present. Kenma nodded slowly, his eyes still fixating him. It's not about us, is it? We are still alright, aren't we? The worried edge in his voice became more prominent, and Bokuto's eyes widened as he realized how that must have sounded in combination with his former passive aggressiveness and gloomy mood. No, of course not. Nothing like that. Immediately, Kemma relaxed, though as the one concern faded, the worry became more prominent. Before he could ask further, however, the noise of the door opening drew their attention. "10 minutes. Kemma scoffed and mumbled something under his breath that sounded suspiciously a lot like an insult before he got up and went to offer both Akashi and Kuro towels as well. "You said you'd leave in 5 minutes, but you were already on the way, weren't you?" "Huh?" "You were too early." Bokuto almost laughed as he listened to their bickering. "Kenma, they let me go sooner than expected, and there wasn't much traffic." Kuro whined, and the room lightened with Akashi's light chuckle, only muffled as he pressed a soft kiss to Kemma's lips upon arrival. "Thank you for the towel, love." "Is Ko inside?" Akashi nodded, and before long appeared in the doorframe with a soft smile playing on his lips and a tired look in his eyes. He looked at Bokuto in sympathy, his brows furrowing slightly as he took in the exhausted look on the ace's face. "Hard day?" Bokuto just nodded wordlessly. He felt a little bad at the thought that it would probably only add to Akashi's worry. "Actually, we have been waiting for you. Kotaro wanted to talk with us." Great, that left him much room for preparations. He'd just have to improvise. Kuro, who had followed behind Kemma, frowned. Immediately, the attention of all three was on him, and the worry suddenly overtaking the room was evident in not just their faces, but the very air surrounding them. "Oh, what happened?" The Raven let himself fall onto a seat across from the ace, while Akashi opted to stand and Kemma leaned over the back of the couch. "Nothing happened. I was just thinking." "About what?" He felt suddenly nervous. This wasn't even a bad challenge, but from a moment to the other, his heart felt as though it could jump out of his chest at any moment. He was fighting to find the right words. "Is something wrong? Is it about us?" He shook his head, quick to ease their worries concerning their relationship. "I thought about quitting volleyball." A stunned silence spread in the room, and for a moment, no noise broke it. None of them seemed to so much as even breathe as he waited for them to react. Akashi was the first to move as he took in a deep breath and straightened his back. His eyes were wide in shock. "Kotaro, what caused this?" Before he could even attempt to reply, Kemma had swung himself over the back of the couch and crawled over to him until he was hovering above the toddler, pressing a hand to his forehead. "Are you sick? Delusional?" He stared straight into his soul as he inspected his eyes. "Have you taken drugs?" "Be honest." At that, Bokuto burst out laughing and almost caused them both to fall from the couch. He quickly pulled Kemma into his arms despite his weak protest that he was serious. "Kotaro, what is going on?" Kuro's voice was still rattled with confusion and worry, and immediately Bokuto felt guilty again. He looked up at the others sheepishly. "It might have been a challenge from Shoyo, to see how you'd react." A heartbeat of silence, then, "Might have been? Was it a challenge or not?" It was. Kuro collapsed into his chair and Akashi had to lean against the wall. Jeez, Ko, you can't do something like this to us. I almost died of a heart attack. I'm sorry. I'm with Tetsu on this one. I was really worried. His voice had lightened with relief, and he smiled at him wearily. Sorry. Well, you got us. Almost killed us with a shock in the process, but you got us. Kenma nodded against his chest and weakly punched his upper arm while snuggling closer. Well, I'm going to make sure we all have enough energy to recover from this. Kenma, would you mind helping me in the kitchen? The smaller groaned, but got up without any more protest and followed the other to make dinner. Meanwhile, Kuro shifted to sit down on the other end of the couch instead. Is really everything alright? You look tired. Bokuto sighed and let himself be soothed by Kuro's soft touches as he patted over his legs and pulled them to rest in his lap. I had a bad day. Kuro hummed, drawing imaginary patterns onto his chins and knees. But you don't really think about quitting, do you? Gods, no. A small chuckle escaped Kuro's lips and he visibly relaxed further. Good. I love seeing you play. He dropped his legs onto the couch before laying down beside him and peppering his face with soft kisses. Bokuto laughed and pulled him down by his collar into a real kiss. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Please leave a like if you liked it. I can do my job. And subscribe if you don't want to miss out on the next parts. Also tell me in the comments which ship you are most excited for. And if I should add the ship Yakolev Shiba Inu. That one, exactly. And of course, as always, tell me your favorite quote from this video under the pinned comment. Over the next days, I have a couple very interesting videos planned. I hope you're excited for this. Special thanks to my nerdy neckos who support this channel so much and help me make all of this possible. Here are my other social media to check out if you want to support me, though the best way to do that would obviously to watch the other videos in the end cut, if you like. I heard they're pretty good. Have a nice day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2. Get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.